So the English having to call on every ounce of their determination to repel the Springboks there. There's a few casualties from the exchange.
Great little dart from Stain. We'll see it here. Really created the opportunity. Then beyond that, it was really the first chance either team has had to build a couple of phases, work in behind the opposition.
It was a missed opportunity by the South Africans.
Certainly was.
Free hit there by Vickery. I don't think that was a knock on. I think it was a straight turnover there by Vickery in the turning. But he did a good job. I'm not sure if it's the correct option. Vickery, a lot of paint on the face.
Well, the two men that are down, Vickery and Dupree, their heads came together. It's putting your body on the line and what's on top as well. The knock-on will be debated. The Springboks, they smelt blood.
So Montgomery's knees in some serious trouble. We talked about how his kick chase was a little bit dodgy earlier on. He's crucial to South African hopes. If he doesn't kick, who would kick for the South Africans?
Francois Stain, I would say, take on that role. Andre Pretorius sits on the bench. There was also Ruan Pino, who's played a little bit of fullback, even though halfback is his preferred position. Eddie Jones and Jake White ponder words that may be spoken at half-time.
Yeah, I would think if Montgomery went off, they'd probably go for the experience of Pretorius at 12 and Stain at fullback. But I think it's going to take a bit to get somebody off the field in the World Cup final. You don't really go off on a stretcher if you have to.
They were ready.
So 3.5 minutes to half-time, and this scrum has the English with their backs to the try line.
Well, they had a dominant scrum. I've been impressed by Van der Linde. They're shearing it right. Earlier on in the tournament, England was shearing in the exact opposite way. I think this is a good way because Sheridan keeps having to move his feet.
England, come up. You take the hit. Don't push through the scrum, please. There's your mark. Crouch. Touch. No. Please listen.
So
you
much
just be quiet and let me
enthusiasm.
organise the scrums, okay? Here's our mark. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage. 9. Let's have it in.
So once again, the scrum disintegrates, and they will have to listen to Alan Rowland again.
Don't step out, please. Don't step out.
Van der Linde
Okay, come over here.
seems to be the person on the biggest, I guess, spotlight at the moment. Sheridan.
Hookers. Crouch.
He's got to deal with Regan on his inside and Sheridan on the outside.
Pause. Engage.
They need stability here, England. South Africa try left-hand wheel. Smith comes up. Oh, he's giving it to South Africa.
Well, this is crucial at this particular point of the match. A big turnaround.
It's only the second scrum South Africa has lost the entire tournament. What a place to do it. 2.5 minutes to go before half-time of the World Cup final. And it was a simple left-hand wheel.
Touch.
Got to keep both sides up.
Pause. Engage.
2 minutes on the clock.
Stay back. Don't push.
Rousseau. He scored one last week. He's inches away this week. The Springboks have it at the back. Juan Smith does the excavating work. Alan Rowland roaring at the English to keep their mitts off it. Dupree goes to the left. There was a wall of white. Back for Fourie. Found his skipper. Once again, the English. It's not going to be easy to crack this defensive line. But the penalty to the box.
Well, this will be an interesting decision, whether or not you go for the 3 points or keep pursuing this line and try to score.
The 5, please.
It's a calculated risk that the English take in that scenario. You put your hands on, your hands on, your hands on.
Hands out when I asked for
Looks like the Africans going to have a crack at the 3 points.
Well, last night the French were down by 2 converted tries with a similar opportunity. Tonight is a Rugby World Cup final, and points are at a premium.
Well, I guess when it comes down to it, the South African scrum takes credit for these 3 points.
Okay, I'll get them. I'll get them.
The person who's in the difficult scenario, Vickery, was the one who let the scrum come round. He's the English captain. He's going to take full responsibility for that himself. I'm sure he will. That's a big turn-up, given the nature of the scrummaging in this tournament so far.
Physically and psychologically. Percy Montgomery with the right knee strapped. Will be the left boot, though, that cracks 100 Rugby World Cup points. And a 6-point advantage to his side. The green and the gold celebrate in the crowd as they head for the sheds. England and South Africa halfway through such a significant battle. It's South Africa 9 and England 3. We'll be back in a moment.
Well, no team has ever won a Rugby World Cup final after trailing at half-time, and no team has ever come from more than 5 points down to win a Rugby World Cup final. England trails 9-3. What does that mean? Well, one thing in their favour is that this is their kind of game. It's tight, it's intense, it's heavily defensive, it's brutal, it's relying a lot on kicking for field position and control of possession. Looking at the highlights, well, there's no need to read anything into the national anthems at a Rugby World Cup final. These two teams absolutely committed, thoroughly prepared, and a little bit of nerves as well from Matthew Tate early on, and this led to the first score of the game in the 6th minute. Percy Montgomery edging his way towards another massive haul, as Rupert pointed out just before half-time. 100 points for the World Cup. In the 11th minute, another penalty came the way of this great duel between Habana and Saki. In the ensuing ruck, the penalty went to England. And so Johnny Wilkinson had the opportunity from wide out to make the most of that frustrated expression on Habana's face. The Stars in the stadium stands and the star on the field, Johnny Wilkinson. But he hasn't been the focal point that England would hope. In the 14th minute, Montgomery took South Africa further ahead. And Francois Steyn took South Africa further ahead. And Francois Steyn had a crack. This has been a pattern from the South Africans. When they're in tight games, they've given Steyn the chance from around halfway. He missed that one. He was also responsible for a couple of turnovers in tackles, but he showed a glimpse of brilliance as well. One of his great breaks led to sustained pressure from South Africa late in the half. In the 35th minute, they went extremely close. Dupria is sweating on the release of this ball from that pile of bodies. He dummies, goes himself, gets buried by Phil Vickery. The claim was that he knocked on. We're not too sure about that call, but Vickery did affect the turnover when he squashed the smaller man. Once again, a chance for South Africa. Scrum close to the England line. England in trouble here, big time, and the penalty ensues. And that gave Montgomery the chance to just kick the South Africans further away. He has not yet missed in spite of that injury that was treated for some time after the breakdown of play just before half-time. He'll have a chance now to have more treatment. Missed tackles, well, 9-5 against England. Very similar in terms of errors, very similar in terms of possession and territory. And as I said, England, nevertheless, in spite of all the history in this game, up to their eyeballs. Get ready for another tense 40 minutes. We'll be back after the break. To go in this Rugby World Cup, or is there? Will we see extra time again? Your commentators, Rupert McCall, Ben Darwin and Ben Tune.
6 points, the deficit at Stade de France. The Springboks have the ascendancy. And if you were to be brutally honest, and it has been brutal at the very least, nothing too unexpected in the first 40 of this Rugby World Cup final.
No, not really. It's an arm wrestle. Both teams trying to bash each other, in particular trying to dominate the breakdown. Both teams mentioned during the week that they both think if their respective team can win that breakdown battle, that they're going to go a long way to winning this game. So I just think they're just still sort of sussing each other out, waiting for a turnover, waiting for an unexpected opportunity, and at that point then I think we might see some tries come.
And as the tiredness comes, the defences start to weak. You get better ball recycle, more pattern, more opportunity. The only turn up for the books, I would say, is that the set piece is more even. The scrum has been very well done by South Africa. The line out, England's ball has been pretty sound. South Africa's winning the ball. There's no question at line out time. England aren't even really going up. They're just counter-mauling. Okay. But that turnover, that scrum, like I said, it's the second time the whole tournament England have lost a scrum. To do it in that scenario, to give them 3 points, that'll have thrown them into half-time. They'll come out very aggressive in the second half at scrum time, particularly on their own ball.
I wonder how much those balls will go for if one of the punters gets their hands on it.
Stevens is on for Vickery.
Let's have time on,
quite a turn up. Vickery had a little bit of injury. He's always had some neck difficulties, but at half-time for the captain to be off is quite a surprise.
So players underway in the second half without Phil Vickery. That clash with Farid Dupria in the shadows of half-time took its toll. Mike Catt shaped the kick, went back to the left, and the boot of Wilkinson. Well, it was good skills from Peterson. Got it on the half volley, juggled it once, took it back, sets it for his forwards. Dupria and Percy Montgomery. Waiting for that is Nick Easter. English players getting in each other's road. Kay says, I know the way forward. Martin Corrie follows him up. Well, there's someone on the field. This is a controversial moment of the match. Somebody get him off. Back to the play, and the kick from England finds Brian Habana. So that situation is now being attended to. Jake White and Eddie Jones shake their heads as we do in the commentary box.
I'm quite surprised Rollins didn't actually just stop play and then play a scrum from there, because it had quite a little bit of an impact with play as it went on.
Well, there's a loser there. What they should have done is just let him go into one of the breakdowns for a couple of rucks. I bet you that's the last time he'll enter a World Cup final match.
Yeah, they might have let Oz Durant, Andrew Sheridan and co get hold of him at the bottom of one of those rucks, but he's gone now and the play goes on. For that we're thankful. Simon Shaw came away with it. Mark Regan took it from him. You can see that brutality of the collision. Gomersall was an ordinary pass, rolls along the ground. Tate steps in to clean it up and breaks through. Matthew Tate pins his ears back. He's around Montgomery. He's inside Peterson. He's 2 metres away. The English want quick ball. The pass is flicked on, and the try. Mark Cueto claims it.
Upstairs.
The crowd roar.
Stuart, can you just confirm, is there any reason I cannot give a try, please?
The Australian Stu Dickinson will make the ultimate decision.
Let's have a look.
Left foot.
Well, that angle's not a great one.
Well, that left boot is so close to the paint of the sideline.
Well,
I think he's out.
Yeah, he's out.
On that angle, he's out. Whether his foot was on the ground or in the air is the only question.
I'm pretty sure I saw some turf get...
In a Rugby World Cup final, that will be hard to give. Well, I made a joke to Stu Dickinson last week. Oh, who knows? I made a joke to Stu Dickinson last week. I said, you're going to have to make a decision that's going to decide this World Cup. And he said, if I get on screen, I'll just flip a coin. He's not doing that.
Well, it's close enough to 50-50. Stu Dickinson, as you saw there in the box, has the greatest responsibility right now.
Look,
it's whether that leg is touching the line, I think, is the question.
But regardless of that, take your hat off to Matthew Tate. What a run.
That left foot touches the line.
I believe it does from that angle. It is touch and go. Alan Rowland, the Irishman, waits on the Australian. The Frenchman Joel Judge is there, eagle-eyed. And there is only a small coat of paint in
John!
He's going to get booed no matter what happens. And it's a tough one to make.
I'm going back for a penalty here. Now, number 6 is very naughty coming in the side like that, okay? We will not do that again.
So it is a